The rain fell lightly, washing the roof tiles, the sidewalk, and Anna's courage. The street seemed smaller than before, but her footsteps sounded enormous inside. The iron gate creaked when the wind blew, and the smell of wet earth mixed with memories she thought she had hidden away in old boxes. 30 years. That was the weight on her shoulders. 30 years since the last hug, since the last song, since the last promise. Made by the window of a train, she raised her hand and knocked once, twice, 3 times. Then she held her breath, and time held its breath with her. Anna Beatrice was 17 when fate decided to play with coins. Miguel, the baker's son, appeared at her door with his face sweaty from the sun and flour. He brought her the change she had forgotten. "Did you cross 2 streets for this?" she asked, laughing. "No. I crossed because of your smile." She blushed. So did he. And that's how the world pushed them both to the wooden bench in the square, under a sibipiruna tree that shed yellow flowers in the late afternoon. Miguel always had a guitar on his shoulder, as if carrying a secret. He played songs that weren't on the radio, lyrics he made up while looking at the sky. "Close your eyes," he said. "It's just a song. What if I fall in love with the song?" She teased. "Then we'll make up another one, just for us." The city seemed too small a setting for such joy. The future enormous. The two of them, tiny and giant at the same time. The news of their relationship spread faster than the wind. A neighbor, proud of her own secrets, let it reach the wrong ears. That night, Anna's father slammed his fist on the table. "You have no idea how this sounds out there." "Out there where, Dad?" "At the bakery?" "In the real world. My real world is when he plays for me. Your real world is what I say it is." Her mother, in fragile health, pleaded for peace with her eyes. But the decision came down like a rock. The next day, Anna would be sent to São Paulo. No discussion. No goodbye. The train left with the haste of those who have never loved. Miguel ran, banged on the window, shouted her name until his throat was raw. Ina watched him get smaller and smaller until he was just a dot, and she cried as if her heart were made of glass. In São Paulo, Anna learned to write so she wouldn't die inside. Long letters smelling of dawn, where she recounted the details. The color of the sky, the noise of the buses, the memories of the square, the taste of morning bread. She sent the first ones. They came back. She sent them again. They came back, until she discovered her father intercepted and burned everything. That night, the hallway smelled of burnt paper and a forbidden future. Her father stared at her without fear of her hatred. "I saved you from a small life. You stole the only big thing I had." Without the mail, all that remained was a notebook. Ina wrote everything there. Letters with no destination, promises with no witnesses, an unfinished song. At the end of each page, she repeated the same phrase. Even far away, "I find you in the wind." It was her way of continuing to breathe life. Stubborn as ever, found another path, a proper marriage to a proper man, chosen by her father. There were no screams. There was no passion. There was a set table, conversations about work, bills, thoughtful dinners, orderly silences. Laura was born, the daughter who brought purpose and peace. With her, Anna learned to love in a different way, caring, repeating, waiting. Years later, a heart attack took her husband. The morning came without foundation. It didn't hurt like a romance. It hurt like a broken routine. The house became too big, and at night, when everyone was asleep, she returned to her notebook. She read the letters as if praying, "When the wind blows your name, I will know." In the attic, among boxes and dust, Anna found a photo, 2 teenagers smiling on the bank of a river. She in a blue dress, he in a white shirt with a guitar on his lap. On the back, teenage handwriting, "Promise you'll come back." The photograph had the power to stir something inside her. Suddenly the past seemed to have an address again. That night, Anna dreamed of a square covered in yellow flowers, a boy with flour on his fingers, and endless music. She woke up with her heart racing and a simple decision to go back. The highway looked the same, but time changes even the color of road signs. Anna drove slowly, as if not wanting to scare away her memories. At every turn, a name: square, river, bakery, blue house. She arrived in the early afternoon. The sky was cloudy, as if it knew that delicacy was needed. The blue house was there, a little paler, a little crooked, still standing. Anna pulled over, smoothed her hair, and wiped her face. She walked to the gate, ran her hand over the rust, and felt the rough touch of childhood. Her hand trembled. She knocked. Silence answered first. The door opened slowly. And it wasn't the past that appeared, it was the future. A little girl of 6 or 7, with curly hair and green eyes impossible to ignore. "Miss, it's raining." "Come in." "Thank you, dear." "Is your father home?" "He's at work." "But Grandpa's here. Do you want to see him?" "Grandpa!" The word struck Anna like a sweet shock. The girl took her hand and pulled her through the house. It smelled of fresh coffee and old wood. The walls were a mosaic of photographs, parties, lunches, people hugging, children laughing until— "That's me," whispered Anna in a frame. A teenager in a blue dress smiled next to a boy with a guitar. All that time fit into a frame. "Grandpa looks at this every day," said the girl. "He says she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen." Anna put her hand to her mouth, and she cried like someone who had found a lost name. "Livia." Her voice came from the hallway, bringing with it 3 decades. "Who are you talking to, sweetie?" Anna recognized him before she saw him. The voice, Miguel, appeared. Grey hair, tired shoulders, a steady gaze. He stopped. The newspaper slipped from his hand. "Anna?" "It's me," she said, and the world had to sit down. Livia, intuitive, disappeared into the house. The two remained standing, as if any step could scare away the miracle. I thought you'd never—" Miguel tried and gave up on the sentence. "Me too," she replied with an old guilt. "Why didn't you come back?" "I tried. My father burned the letters. He locked me up. He said I had a future. I was just a girl." He breathed heavily. "I went to the station for years. Then I stopped. But here," she touched her chest, "it never stopped." Anna walked slowly around the room, touching the photos as if asking permission. She stopped at the frame of the girl in the blue dress, closed her eyes for a second, then opened them with more courage. "Did you get married?" "I did. A good marriage as far as it could be. I had a son. She passed away 10 years ago." "I'm sorry." "Thank you." "And you?" "I got married too. It was polite. We had Laura. Everything was fine on the outside. But there was no music." He smiled tenderly, a smile of someone who still understands her language. "You always talked like that. Music." There was a necessary pause. Outside, the rain was deciding whether to go away. In the corner of the room, leaning against a bookcase, was the guitar. Miguel picked it up reverently, like someone returning to a sacred craft. "Remember?" he asked. "I never forgot." He strummed the strings. The notes came out timidly, like birds after a storm. It was the old melody, the one from the square, the river, the yellow bench. And as he had done for decades, he stopped before the end. "I never managed to finish it," he confessed. Anna took a deep breath, held onto the edge of the table and returned what she'd kept for 30 years. "I finished it." "How so?" "I wrote the ending in my notebook the night I left." She sang softly, with the voice she learned to speak after much silence, even far away. "I hear you in the silence. Even in time, I still find you in the wind." Miguel closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were moist. He put down his guitar, approached her slowly, and held her face in his hands. "You left," he said simply, "and I was left broken." The embrace came without asking permission. It was long, old, and new, the size of 3 decades. That night Anna sent Laura a message. "Honey, I arrived safely. I'm in a city that was once mine." Her daughter replied with a heart and a question. "Do you need me?" "Not yet. But I want to show you a place." Miguel, meanwhile, received a call from his son, Daniel. "Dad, is Livia okay?" "She's great, and—" "Daniel!" There was a smile that his son recognized from a distance. Someone showed up. Someone. The woman in the photo. On the other end, respectful silence. "Well, take care of her." The next morning, Anna and Miguel walked through the city as if reconstructing a map. They went to the square. The tree was still there, bigger, more generous. They sat on the bench. "Here you promised you would write a song with my name," she said. "I wrote half of it," he joked. "The other half was waiting for you to come back. I'm back." I noticed. Back home, Anna opened her bag and took out the old notebook. The pages were stained with age, but the writing remained clear. "I wrote everything. My whole life, as if you were going to read it one day." She read a letter aloud. Then another. The words were from another age, but from the same heart. Miguel listened, as if he were hearing a song he thought was lost. On one of the pages, the repeated phrase was underlined. "Even far away, I find you in the wind. I also looked for you in the wind," he said. "Sometimes, when the city was asleep, I would play in the yard and swear I could hear you breathing." Livia appeared with a drawing, a heart and 2 little figures holding hands. "It's you and the pretty girl." "Grandpa." Anna knelt down and thanked her. "What's your name?" "Livia, and you?" "Anna, are you coming back tomorrow?" "If your grandpa wants me to, he wants you to. He always has." On the 3rd day at the bakery, a lady recognized Anna. "You're back." It was neither an accusation nor a blessing. It was astonishment. "I'm back," Anna replied with a shy smile. The new baker, the son of a former employee, brought warm bread. The smell rose like a memory. "Remember how you used to steal the rolls before paying?" Miguel teased. "I didn't steal. I just anticipated, just like our love." "Yeah, we anticipated love and delayed life." In the afternoon, sitting in the backyard, the two talked about Anna's father. About the anger, the distance, what burned and what was left. "I don't know if I can forgive him," she confessed. "Forgiveness isn't a hug. It's rest," Miguel said. "Forgive when it hurts less to hold on to the memory than to fight it. What if I never can?" Then you breathe and let time work on what we can't achieve. At night her courage faltered. Fear crept in with old arguments. "It's too late. It won't work. You've changed." Anna looked in the mirror and saw 2 ages in one face, the 17-year-old girl and the 47-year-old woman. "I'm scared," she told him on the phone. "Me too," he replied. "Let's do this. I'll hold your fear, you hold mine. And when one gets tired, the other holds both. I accept. Then I'll wait for you here early tomorrow. The coffee will be brewed, and the bread will be warm. And the courage comes with you." The next morning, the table was set in the backyard. Livia was coloring, and the guitar was breathing nearby. "I should have asked you to marry me under that tree," Miguel began shyly. "I would have said yes." "Then let me ask you now," he said, looking at her hands. "Not with a ring, but with what I have. Ordinary days, bread, coffee, my wrinkles, and the songs I haven't finished. Will you accept to live the rest of your life with that?" Anna closed her eyes for a moment. Inside, the train stopped, the window opened, someone reached for her hand. "I accept." Livia clapped her hands. "Is this a wedding?" "It's a commitment," Miguel replied. "We'll have the wedding later with cake." "With chocolate?" With whatever a bride in a blue dress chooses, Laura arrived over the weekend. She hugged her mother for a long time, recognizing the sparkle in her eyes that she hadn't seen since childhood. "So it's him," she said calmly. "The boy from the notebook. It's him. And you're the girl in the photo," Daniel added, arriving with Livia in his arms. "My father taught me to respect this memory." The four of them sat down in the living room. Time politely stayed outside the window. "We're old," said Miguel. "We're ready," corrected Anna. In the square, a street musician was playing. Anna and Miguel stopped. The young man saw Miguel's guitar on his shoulder and offered, "Want to play one?" "It's been a while since I've had any luck with an audience," Miguel laughed. "Today the audience knows you," Anna whispered. He played. The same old melody. When he reached the end he could never reach, he looked at Anna. She nodded. He finished. The square seemed to hold its breath. The music ended in silence, then applause, and tears that did not come from the eyes, they came from within. One Sunday, Livia showed up with a gift. "It's for you to marry Grandpa," she said. Serious as someone who understands ceremonies, it was a simple, beautiful blue fabric. "I don't know if it will fit me," Anna said. "It fits your heart," the girl assured her. Anna looked at herself in the mirror with the fabric on her shoulders. She saw the girl in the photo smiling back at her. It wasn't the same face. It was the same glow. Anna decided she would copy excerpts from the letters in the notebook by hand and give them to Miguel, one per day for a month, "so you can experience what I experienced," she explained. "One letter per night before bed. What if I cry? I'll hold your fear. What if I smile? I'll keep your smile." In the first one she wrote, "Promise you'll come back." Miguel replied on the back, "You came back. Now I promise to stay." At the cemetery, Anna brought flowers for her mother. She spoke softly, as if talking to someone pretending to be asleep. "I'm going to start over, Mom, with the one I should have been with. Forgive me for taking so long. Give me your blessing." The cold wind blew through her hair like a hand. She decided to consider that an answer. The wedding was simple in the backyard. Chocolate cake, white napkins, flowers from the park. The oldest neighbors, Laura, Daniel, Livia, jumping around. Instead of expensive wedding bands, 2 simple silver rings engraved on the inside. Ventania and Silencio, the names they had unwittingly given each other in their letter-writing days. Miguel played without a microphone. The melody he had finally learned to finish, and sang a little bit, laughing, crying, people clapping along, cheeky birds chirping. During the toast, Laura gave a speech like someone who understood love too early. "I grew up watching my mother tidy up the house on the outside and mess up the longing on the inside. Today, the house and the longing are in the same place. And there is music." The following days were spent organizing drawers, choosing shelves, discovering where the other keeps their toothbrush, medicine, impatience, and silence. "Do you talk to things?" Anna asked, laughing, watching Miguel talk to the water filter. "I do. They answer me better than people sometimes." "So today you're going to talk to the wind," she teased. "I listen to the wind. You're the one I answer. At night they read. A page from the notebook, a sip of tea, a lingering glance. Sometimes the two just existed, side by side, as if they owed nothing to the clock. Not all happiness is smooth sailing. A bad night came. Anna woke up scared with the feeling of losing again. She sat up in bed, her hands on her face. "I'm afraid it will end," she confessed when Miguel turned on the lamp. "Everything ends," he said, with the gentleness of someone who is in no hurry. Bred the day music. "But there are things that continue, even when they end." "What?" "What we leave in each other. If one of us leaves first, what remains is already both of us," she breathed. The fear politely lay down on the carpet. One late afternoon, Daniel had an idea. Let's redo the photo. They went to the river. Miguel with his guitar, Anna in blue, Livia trying to imitate the tree's pose. The photo was different. Of course it was. Time had changed the light, the shadows, their skin. But the joy that came out of it seemed unprecedented. Look, Anna showed the image on her cell phone. We look like the best versions of ourselves. We are. They decided to celebrate the date of the change every year, the day of you crossed 2 streets for this. They took bread, cheese, juice, a blanket, a simple candle that insisted on going out. Miguel wrote a note and placed it under the bench. If you find this, know that love has a habit of arriving late and still being punctual. It's silly, he laughed. It's just like us. She laughed along with him. Miguel finally named the song De Volta do Vento, Back from the Wind. He wrote the score by hand and dedicated it to A.B., who has always been here. At the first chord, Anna closed her eyes. When the song ended, she opened them, with the calmness of someone who understands that some endings are, in fact, an insistent beginning. An old number called A Distant Relative. News about her father. He was sick, tired, his eyes softer. He wanted to see her. I don't know, Anna said. Go, Miguel asked. If it's bad, I'll pick you up. If it's good, I'll pick you up too. What if he says I ruined his future? Say you fixed yours, she went. The meeting was not like in the movies. There were awkward silences, hard tears, a hand that tried to ask for forgiveness without knowing the gesture. Anna did not say, I forgive you. She said, I'm going to live, and leaving there. She felt her body lighter. Forgiveness sometimes is just the right to walk away without carrying a piece of furniture on your back. Every 3 months, they took a weekend to disappear. A cheap inn, a nearby town, a room with a large window. Anna took 2 dresses. Miguel took 2 shirts and his guitar. On Sunday before returning, they would write a sentence together and paste it in a new notebook. Vacation from the rush. We invented a morning. Today, time worked for us. A test caused concern, but it didn't last, a scare along the way. The doctor reassured them. Back in the car, Anna cried unashamedly. I don't want to lose this, she said. Neither do I, he replied. So let's promise each other something. If a difficult night comes, we'll turn on some music. And if the music doesn't turn on, we'll hold each other until dawn. A year later, on the anniversary of her return, Anna handed Miguel an envelope. Inside was a copy of the first letter she wrote and never sent. If I don't come back, find me in the wind. Below, she now added, I came back. So find me in the kitchen, in the backyard, on the bench on Sunday. Find me in the simple places where life lives. It was late afternoon when the rain returned, that fine rain that tells secrets. Miguel and Anna were on the porch, watching the world drip slowly. Do you remember the first knock on the door? She asked. I remember the second when time stopped. What if I hadn't knocked? I would have opened it, he said. Because sometimes that's what life is like. 2 hands on the same side of the door, unaware. The blue house breathed with them. The street had children, a curious dog, a lady watering her plants and saying good morning at the same time. Miguel picked up his guitar and played without warning. Anna sang the end, as always. Livia danced awkwardly, as always. Daniel filmed as never before, and the music stubbornly found its place. Some loves never lose their address. They may change cities, seasons, train stations. They may change names, hairstyles, pace, but they remain there, stored in a house that never sleeps. A house that inside has an open door for when courage arrives late. If one day you hear the wind calling, look around. Maybe it's just nostalgia. Maybe it's life giving you a second chance. The old photograph and the new one stood side by side in the room. The old one with the river behind it, the new one with the future ahead of it. Between the two frames, a note from Livia, written in large letters. They found each other. Not in the perfect way, not soon, not without cost, but in the right way. Some doors time tries to close, but the heart keeps ajar. When love has the courage to return, they open by themselves.